It is finally coming. Now, if you've been keeping up with CN, or if you've seen it somewhere like on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, or on the Langrisser announcement, but let me explain it to those who haven't already know. Valkyria Chronicles are coming on Thursday, May 19, and it consists of Alicia, Silveria, and Izera. Now, let me just say this first. If this is your favorite game or anime, then don't let anyone stop you. If you want to summon for them, summon for them. Play the game however ways it makes you happy. Don't let anyone say otherwise. Alright, now that I got that disclaimer out of the way, let's go take a look at them. Oh yeah, shout out to Langrisser, by the way, for providing this info for everyone to use. Alright, back to the video. So we got Alicia. She's part of the protagonist, mythical, and heroes of time, sort of like Green. But her talent effect, Battle Reconnaissance, attack is decreased by 10% at 3 stars, 12 at 4 stars, 15 at 5 stars, and 20% at 6 stars. She can ignore enemies' obstruction when moving, and she can treat all passable terrain as grassland. And when she moves through units or blocks within 1 blocks of these units, gain up to 2 to 3 chances to ignore mobility reduction depending on the number of her star level. And for every unit she passes through, before using an AoE skill or entering battle, her damage dealt is increased by 8%, and her damage taken is decreased by 20%, which comes from her reconnaissance skill, it looks like. The skill only lasts 1 turn and can be stacked up to 2 times, but it has a cooldown of 4, 3, and 2 turns depending on her star level. And for a bond requirement, I'm just going to list the ones that seem more concerning. So we got win 5 times an arena with this character, and clear timer 3 to 1 with this character. And of course, just like any other crossover characters, you have to unlock their classes in order to unlock their bonds. And these are her max stats for her 2 different classes, her soldier bonus, and her 3C skill, Blue Flame Thrust. It is a physical damage skill that attacks enemies within a single line that has 2 range. Oh, that's pretty interesting. So it can reach up to 2 blocks, but you can only reach in a single line. Okay. This skill does ignore melee penalties, and before entering battle, she restores 2 HP to full, dispel up to 5 buffs from the enemy, and inflict defense minus 30%. That lasts 2 turns, cannot be dispelled, and after battle, she launches an AoE skill to within 4 blocks along the line of wherever she's facing to the target. And these are classes or soldiers, they're pretty decent. And I'm only gonna list her unique skills, so let's take a look at it. We got Barrage here, a physical damage skill that increases the crit rate by 20%, and it can only be used up to 3 times in a row before turning into Reload. But when you use Reload, restores up to 50% of HP to self and refill barrage charges. And then after use, of course, it becomes a barrage, and rinse and repeat. And we got her AoE skill, Grenade Blast, attacks multiple enemies within range, which is 2 blocks, causes 0.3 times AoE damage, and displaces them, causing them to move 1 to 2 blocks away from the chosen block of the skill. So wherever you choose to use the skill, and depending where the enemies are at, it depends on how the enemies move. And it can only be used up to 3 times? Okay. And her Righteous Advance, it's an assist skill. After use, dispels 1 debuff himself, restores up to 50% HP. So we got a lot of HP restores, which is pretty insane. Can move to 2 blocks and attack again. Her buffs does not decrease, however, and the skill can only be used up to 3 times. Wow, okay. Alright, so I just want to say this first, that if you're a new player coming in just for these characters, in order to really use Alicia, it will take some time to use her at her full potential, because you will need to progress through the story to get a faction buff for Matthew. Because faction buff is what you really need in order to dish out some real damage and stuff like that. And not many people really uses mythical or heroes of time faction buffs, so you can just cross that out. And as well as using her PvE content, it is quite manageable, I'll say that. Since you get pretty decent skills, and you can actually put up some good damage with her since she does have her attack increase because of her talent. And as well for PvP, she doesn't really shine much light. She is meant to really disrupt teams' positions with her grenade blast skill, and then allow your other characters to follow up for an attack, while also herself dealing quite a bit of damage. But because of her own skills that have limited usage, you have to be careful and choose like the right moment to really use them. Otherwise you won't be able to use them again. So yeah, I personally don't like the way how the skills are like that, but it's whatever. She's a pretty decent unit, I'll say that. Now for Selvaria, her factions involves being in Empire, Ace Tactic, and Heroes of Time, of course, because these are crossover characters. Her talent, Pale Blue Realm, crit rate increases and crit damage increases by 15% at 3 stars, 20 at 4 stars, 25 at 5 stars, and 30% at 6 stars. Any enemy within 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, depending on the star level, that ends their turn with full HP, they take fixed damage equal to how many percent of her attack. Also increases depending on the star level. And for a bond requirement, she has to reach level 30 and clear timer 3 to 1 elite. And of course, you have to unlock her class in order to get the other bonds, her max stats, and got her soldier bonus. And her 3C skill is like the most interesting one out of this whole bunch. So when you use it, at first, it's an active skill, restores 30% HP, and she cannot move again, or be teleported, but her crit rate is increased by 20%, her range increases by 7, and damage dealt is reduced the closer the target is, up to 35%. And it does only last 1 turn. After using the skill, it is replaced with Valkyria Flash, and of course, right after using this skill, it does change back to Valkyria Power, but let's take a look at what it actually does, the attacking skill. So it is a physical damage skill that ignores guard and attacks one enemy, dealing 1.4 times damage. And if the enemy is at least 9 spaces away, her damage dealt increases by 20%. Both units will not have soldiers attack, and both deal damage directly to the hero. And let's take a look at her unique skills. Disarm. When using the skill, inflicts unit range -1, that lasts 1 turn and cannot be dispelled. And her dominating command. Okay, so this is probably one of my favorite of her kits. Okay, so we got all out attack, which gives 20% increase of attack and int to all nearby allies. That lasts 2 turns. All out defense. This one is the same, but increases defense and magic defense by 2 turns. All out destruction is the same, but increases crit rate by 20%. And of course, 2 turn cooldown. And her passive skill, Ambush, when on defensive terrain, crit rate is increased by 50%. Her fixed damage dealt is increased by 30%, and healing received increased by 30%. Now, what I think about this character. Selvaria is probably one of the most interesting character of this entire crossover, because of her 3C skill allows her to attack pretty far, up to 9 blocks, while also increases the crit chance, and she can ignore guard. But the downside to this is that she can't really be moved or teleported. And I think the worst of all is that she has to reach exactly 9 blocks, which is her maximum attack range when using the skill, in order to deal directly to the enemy hero, which is almost a guaranteed kill if you want to put it like that. And for PvP, she is pretty hard to use, I'll say that. Because her talent, although she does have crit rate and crit damage, which allows her to do a pretty insane amount of damage, her fixed damage, however, you're gonna be seeing a lot of people using like fixed damage immunity skills or equipment that it will be pretty hard to get fixed damage to activate. And her 3C skill is the only one that can actually ignore guard. But I'm pretty sure that this skill is pretty fast to use. Yeah, I don't think this skill really does have a cooldown. So yeah, so even if you don't really get to attack at all, after you end your turn, you can actually use the skill again. But yeah, that doesn't mean she's bad either. Having that amount of range and having a skill that ignores guard is actually pretty insane. For PvE, she is pretty good at that as well. Because you got her dominating command skill. Let's see where it's at. Oh, right here. Yeah. Okay, so this is pretty good. This is a pretty good. Because you don't really get a faction buff when you start out. So with this skill, can pretty much be like that to gain an increased attack and int. So you're gonna be using all-out attack quite a bit. And of course, if you find things to be difficult, then you can also use defense as well. If you're able to progress a little bit further in the game, I would say that an Empire team is probably the best way to start off. So until you get an Empire faction buff, you won't really have to worry about bringing this skill all the time. That's so very rare for you guys. And now, move on to Izera. Now, Izera. I'm gonna be honest, I totally forgot that this character actually existed. Because no one really uses this character. And let me explain all her kit first, real quick. So she does have an ace tactic and heroes of time faction, and her talent, troop tank synergy. When her HP is at least 80%, her physical damage taken decreases by 10%, all the way up to 30% depending on the star level. Of course, it goes by 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, 6 stars. Wait, what? Oh no, okay. Yeah, when you get Izera, she starts off at 2 stars, and then you make your way to 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, and then 6 stars. And also, when attacked by an AoE line skill, allies behind this unit have their damage taken reduced by all the way up to 80%. Now, you won't really see a lot of people bring AoE line skill, especially in PvE. And of course, her bond requirements: clear time of 3 to 6 on normal, and clear time of 3 to 1 on elite. And of course, again, just like any other crossover characters, upgrade their class and unlock their bonds. And then her 3C skill, suppressing fire, attacks multiple enemies within 3 blocks, deals 0.4 times AoE damage, which is more effective against infantry, inflicts movement -2, and cannot guard. That lasts 2 turns, and you can move 3 blocks after using the skill. And her frontline rescue can restore HP to 1 ally in the spell 1 debuff, and also this gives them a buff where after they take action, they restore their HP up to 1.5 times of Izera's attack. That lasts 2 turns. And her AoE skill, heavy shelling, attacks enemy in range, dealing 0.33 times damage, inflicts defense -20%. That lasts 2 turns. I don't really know how I really feel about this character. Her kits are pretty okay. She is meant to be like a AoE attacking support physical tank. Hey, alright, so let me give her the good thing about her. She does have a skill that can heal, right? And her damage can be reduced as long as she's above 80% HP. And you can get her for free from the event and easily start her up. Sounds pretty good, yeah? But the one thing I don't really like about her is that she could be more tankier if it weren't for her soldiers. Because all these soldiers that she has, like Demon Hunter, Dark Elf Snipers, are really meant for they're really meant for attacking rather than defending. The only thing you got for if you're trying to make her as a tank is the Gold Knights, but you won't be able to get Gold Knights because this does require you to get one of the higher level materials by beating one of the higher level Anarchy stages. So you can have a long time before you can really unlock this Gold Knight. So if you really want to make her a tank, then yeah, that's fine if that's how you want to play her, but you can also make her an attacker as well, since she does have attacking skills as well. Now, for PvP, don't even bother using her. Just don't. It's really not a good idea. Unless you're some kind of masochist. But if you're gonna use it for PvE, you can actually use it with someone like Valkyria, assuming that you're gonna be using her and Alicia just for this crossover. Then I would recommend bringing like a healing skill, and if you're gonna tank with her, then use Lance Phalanx. Otherwise, you can bring something like Snare or Ram, or you can maybe even bring Mass Protect for increased defense. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about her. Really not a lot that you can go for her. And besides, you got other tanks that you can actually start off. You can use someone with Vargas. He's probably like one of the better choices, and he can revive as well. If you really like this character, if you want to use her, then you don't really have to listen to me. You might find it pretty difficult to actually maybe even keep her alive at one point, you know? And now overall, I don't think these characters aren't that bad at all. So if you're new coming to the game, they can really be manageable. I highly recommend Legend and Thxs, since for new players there is going to be a wish list banner that you can do, and I think that lasts for like 2 weeks, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. And I say Legend and Thxs because they can actually carry you throughout the entire game, but I respect whatever choice you want. You know, if you want to summon for Alicia and Silveria, since if you're just coming to the game for them, then yeah, that's totally fine. And if you somehow manage to get Alicia and Silveria from the banner, then I would highly recommend doing the wishlist banner. I'll say that, because Legend and Thxs are really good, especially Thxs. You don't really have to use Legend. If you want, you can use someone else. But that's not all, folks. We got more. Yeah, that's right, more. Now, if you've already seen the announcement, then yeah, you might already seen all this. We do have the new event coming up because of the crossover, where you can get Isera, you can get it for free, and farm the event for the materials in order to get memory shards in order to start it up. But we do have a new time rift, which is exciting news for veteran players, whether you're into the story or rewards. But the man himself, this guy has always been looked down upon. He's always been made fun of. He came back much stronger to show everyone that he's no joke. Grenier is getting an SP class, and this is pretty crazy, I'll say that. And now, the way how you get his SP stone is, I think this actually can be attained from like a regular map event that might come out right after the update. So yeah, this is fairly easy to get. Yeah, so nothing too crazy to unlock. And we do have a new component coming up called Balder. Now, I'm not entirely sure what this guy does, but I've only seen the stats for this thing, and it looks like it is a magic based component. We do got the exclusive equipment for Kruger and Transcender. Now, I'm not sure what the Transcender does. For Kruger, I think like when he has his equip, it increases his magic defense, and whenever he dies, he does give a death effect where like if an enemy is within like 3 blocks of him, then he does give a strong debuff. And of course, we got a confession for Alpha. Now, I'm just gonna be real here. Do people even really do figuring walls? Because I totally forgot that this was actually in the game. Like every month, whenever they say something about the figuring walls, I'm like, oh yeah, this was added in the game a long time ago. But that's all I have for you guys. Let me know down below what you guys think about this crossover, and if you're summoning for them or not, or if you're skipping, because next month we do have like 2 anticipated characters coming up, which is Orboro and Zusa, and they're actually pretty good. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And also, if you enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And thanks for watching. Your fellow Z.